Well, hello and welcome to the Real Hernando, presented to you by Wesley Meadows Retirement Community and produced by SRP Studios Podcasting. This podcast spotlights Hernando's, Mississippi's businesses, organizations, and community leaders. Heartfelt thank you to all of our incredible sponsors who make this journey possible. Please click that sponsors tab at the top of the website, therealhernando.com. Well, you'll find clickable logos for each sponsor. Simply click that logo and you'll go straight to their website or Facebook page. So I encourage you to please support these local businesses. Also, again, follow us at therealhernando.com. There you'll find our links for Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Now, a word from our sponsor. Each day at Wesley Meadows is a new opportunity to serve older adults and reimagine retirement living. It is the heart of their mission that inspires their team to provide the kind of fun atmosphere and care the residents would want for themselves. Experience the warm spirit and faith-based difference of Wesley Meadows. Call 662-429-2070 and schedule your visit today. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Derrick. I'm joined today with my co-host, Lauren McLendon, and today we are spotlighting Hype, Hernando Young Professionals and Entrepreneurs. It was founded in 2023, and Hype's mission is to connect young professionals in the Hernando area to expand and support their network. We're going to dig way deeper into this. To help us with this, we have Dr. Danton Dye and Mr. Jonathan Hooker joining us today. We're calling this Hype 2.0. There's a lot of change, ideas for the future, and thanks to Lauren for bringing this to my attention. I thought, and we thought, and really Lauren's credit, made this happen today. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity to put some content out there under the Real Hernando umbrella that's going to try to hopefully help Hype grow and just become, have people become more aware of it. So today we're talking about educating people what it is. We have to assume that not everyone knows it, what it is, what it's about, and what we're going to look forward to doing with it in the future here. So Lauren, I'm going to start with you because you brought this to my attention. For some context, I was on the chamber board when Hype started here in Hernando, which was an idea that we stole from South Haven.
Don't reinvent the wheel. I mean,
and different name, right? And it went good. And during the pre-interview, Jonathan, we were talking about how they had a golf tournament last year, and I remember being a part of that planning in a way with Molly Jolly.
Yes.
And it seemed like it was a success right out of the gate.
It was actually a glow in the dark golf tournament. So a little different than your typical tournaments you see, with a lot of other nonprofits in the area. That she definitely had a little bit of a spin for it. And Molly definitely made it successful right off the gate. So
yeah, and it raised money. And I'm sure we'll talk about this, how Hype is connected to the chamber, but it raises its own funds. It doesn't pull from the chamber membership, their sponsors, nothing. It's its own entity and has its own board, which is what we're going to talk about as well today. So, all right, enough of me. Lauren, take it from here and help introduce the fellas into the show for us.
Sure. So earlier this year, Bailey Harris reached out to me and she mentioned Hype, and I had only ever heard of it just casually through talking with Jonathan Hooker about it. And I was like, well, yeah, I'd love to get involved in this, but I felt like I might be too old, which sounds weird. But I was like, I don't know where the cutoff is for young professionals. So I was like, I'm 35. Am I too old? And she's like, no, we're all the way up to 45. You're good. So great, would love to be involved and hear more about it. And I hadn't heard about too many events that were going on other than the really big ones. And it hadn't ever really lined up with my schedule to attend some of the smaller events. And I was like, man, I do want to get connected. So you mentioned it's Hype 2.0. That's what we've all been kind of calling it internally amongst the Hype team. And on the new board, I'm slated to be the secretary on there. And the gentlemen that are with us are the chair, Jonathan Hooker, and then the co-chair, Dr. Dye. So it's exciting to see everything kind of get revamped and revitalized, because it's all about the leaders that are in the position that make things successful. And so pressure's on, Jonathan, because you got to drive it. But we've had one like unofficial board meeting, because most of us that were there weren't it was like me. I was a newcomer to the group, but learning about what we wanted to accomplish with it. So gathering young professionals together, but then also giving them some sort of benefit for taking time out of their day. So be that networking and a fun time, or education, something to enhance their professional development. That's what we want to do. And with this new board, we also are talking about doing more focused subcommittees so that we can do more with it. I mean, more hands make light work, and it can't all be on Jonathan. He's a very busy guy. Jonathan, actually, I'm going to kick it to you to talk more about kind of what you're wanting to see Hype 2.0 be here in Hernando.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we made the decision in the last, I guess, about 2 months that, like Lauren said, we wanted to increase the members of the board. So we decided to add 3 more members. And really that was to kind of conquer and divide and give where we could kind of all help plan more events. I think before it literally started out, like we said before, with just Molly, and she planned and did a lot of the stuff herself, which I think is hard for anyone. So we thought if we had additional board members doing some of these networking events, or like the bigger events, last year we also had like a small pickleball tournament at the country club. But it's a lot to put together. We're like Derrick said, we're not pulling any money from the chamber, so we found our own food sponsor. We found a location to have the event. We figured out a way to make it to where we're not costing any additional money, which takes some networking and people making phone calls. And so we really thought by having more of us on the board, this next year would be more successful, because the end of the day, our goal here is to have more young professionals that meet and have an opportunity to network, and know that a chiropractor or your local alderman, or think and have their phone number and call. But it's also to help grow the chamber. That is what we're looking for. At the end of the day, we're all supporters of the Chamber of Commerce in Hernando. We want to see more people join the chamber, and more people that are under 45. So that's really our kind of goal here.
And I'm 48, so I'm not insulted at all. Just saying.
Just missed the cutoff.
For the right donation, we'll change the year. Requirement.
And I joked about it in the board meeting. It was Greg Drumright. You mentioned pickleball. So Greg Drumright owns Gatorade Fieldhouse, and he's a master pickleballer. I never thought I'd say a sentence that way. That sounded weird, but and I was like, I took offense. I'm like, wait, well, I'm a young business owner in the sense that, I'm 47, 6 at the time, but I've only been a business owner at that time, 4 or 5 years. I'm a young business owner, but that's another group for another day. We'll call it a different name, but yes, it was absolutely, we were brainstorming, how do we grow the chamber, and let's get some youth in here, because we realized the average age of our membership base are older. I think we kind of thought maybe the chamber just is kind of out of reach or out of touch with a certain age group now. Like what is it? So this was the answer to that. So thank you for all of that, Jonathan. Let's bring in Dr. Dye now. So what is your role? What are you looking at as far as coming onto the board as the co-chair?
Yeah, so Jonathan and I, we had talked a little bit yesterday, and so like they said, they were going through and expanding the board a little bit, and trying to bring in some additional resources and different ideas and things like that to help out. And so when they brought me on, I grew up here in DeSoto County, went to school at DeSoto Central, and in fact, our superintendent, Corey Elselton, was my principal there, and awesome guy, love him to death. And so, but the theme that we had for all of our sports when I was in school there was, when you play one of us, you play all of us. And so I think that translates very well to how we all look from a business standpoint, especially with all of us being young professionals, or even entrepreneurs coming up, is that when we start forming these teams and these alliances and things like that within ourselves, that we can all rise together. Hernando's a booming town. There's tons of commerce happening. There's tons of growth happening. there's a lot of things that are going on, and a lot of untapped potential simply because the fact that we're not connected and we're not integrated. We're not networking like we should be. And so that's kind of my biggest goal with Hype is to being able to connect the community like we need to be in order to, number one, make Hernando as great as we can make it. And number two, to make us all, continue to have the success that'll be generational, that'll be, a legacy for when we get done with it. When we're, have reached Derrick's age and have made it to 48 and we're no longer in Hype anymore.
I pray that you make it there.
Absolutely, right? Right. That's what we all long for, right? To make it to the glory land way someday. And so, but to have something that that we can start as a legacy here in Hernando, and hopefully will continue to grow long after all of us are here, or all of us are gone.
And we all know about Delta Landing and what's coming, and with the YMCA.
Absolutely, yeah.
And think of and I always bring this area up, but that patch of Mackinvale from Byhalia to Green Tea. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize, wow, this is like a blank canvas here, just waiting to have paint put on it. It's gonna explode at some point, and all the whole section is gonna connect. So it's coming. I know a lot of people don't want that to come. I'm on the side of yes, bring it. But also when it comes to the networking aspect, which something that I've done a lot of and experienced a lot of, because when I first joined the chamber and first started, brought my business to Hernando, it wasn't a brick and mortar. It was just me working from home, like a homepreneur, right? And I think there's more and more of those young business owners that have legit LLCs that are offering legit services, but they don't have the storefront. You're not going to see them. They might have some good social media presence, but you got to get out there and shake some hands and meet some people face to face. So that's what I did. As far as now, when I joined the chamber, I got active and went to ribbon cuttings. So Hype, to the young business entrepreneurs out there, Hype is designed for you to meet other people just like you, like-minded, that you would not have ever probably known or met because you can't drive by their store.
Something that's very interesting to me about the Hernando Chamber of Commerce. I met with Siboney shortly after I was elected onto the board, but before I'd been sworn in, and she gave me this beautiful packet, all the things that the chamber does, and us being like a Main Street city as well, and the things that come with that. There's a lot that we have to be proud of, but what was really interesting to me is how many members of our chamber are businesses where it's one person or maybe a couple that is running a business. And talking to some of the friends of mine that I have a friend that's an esthetician, a friend that's a stretch therapist, a massage therapist. They're all members of the chamber and it's just them, and to your point, Derrick, I suppose they could do a ribbon cutting in front of like the one room that they rent out, but it's, it's kind of an odd situation. Yeah. And so the chamber does, ceremonial ribbon cuttings at their offices for places like that. But when you don't have the brick and mortar, it's hard to have that face to face. And more in post-COVID times, people don't have the brick and mortar. If you don't need it, it's additional overhead. There's certain businesses where you absolutely do need it, but others, it's just not there. But I did think that was really neat how many are individuals. But if we're all individuals out there on islands, we've got to connect together to continue to rise.
Like my first ribbon cutting was in front of the office outside. In fact, it was her name was Donna, the lady before Bailey, and Bailey Harris, Siboney's assistant, if you will. She calls me randomly. She introduces herself, and she's like, I noticed you joined the chamber X amounts of months ago. We would just wanted to connect with you and see when you wanted to schedule your ribbon cutting. And I was like, well, how does that work? I don't have an office. I didn't even know that was a possibility. She's like, and if you knew Donna, she was just like, oh, silly. She was, just a silly act, warm-hearted, just Southern person that way. She's like, oh, no, we just do it in front of the office. We'll just do it outside. I'm like, okay. And then I did it. And then sure enough, I met Alderman immediately. I instantly got a connection with Chad Wicker. who actually ended up becoming a client. It doesn't always happen that easy, but it put me right there in front of all kinds of people. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, I need to do this more. So just as it's some advice to any chamber member, you get a newsletter every week and scroll down to the schedule of future ribbon cuttings and just throw them in your calendar. All of them. Doesn't mean you're going to all of them. Just put them in the calendar. And then when you get closer and you realize, you know what? Yeah, I do have time for that one tomorrow. Then just pop in. And ultimately, that's how I ended up getting on the board. They reached out to me because I was showing up like an ambassador without being an ambassador. And they're like, well, this kid, right? I was young, 46 years old then. Um, but it brought in all kinds of opportunities, and it goes all the way back to just showing up and the handshake. And Lauren and I talked about this on the last podcast episode, is showing up. It does a lot for you and the community. And again, going back to hype is a way to, like, let's wake up the young professionals that probably don't know that aspect, because I think everyone's really good at social media marketing, but who's the person? So we want to learn more about you. So
Absolutely. And I think too, Derek, to that point, just getting people plugged in. I mean, like Lauren mentioned a while ago, oftentimes we get into our own lanes, our own islands. And they tend to bump into each other every once in a while, but if you're not coming together and actually forming a raft, everybody's just out there floating, lonesome to the sharks. And so that's another whole purpose of hype, is to just connect the people. Get things together to where we're building ourselves professionally. One of our goals is to bring in speakers that are going to help us build up as professionals and as entrepreneurs, and then as well do things that are going to help us, with our families, making sure that, hey, we've got self-help things that are going to say, hey, I've been in this business for, speakers that come in and say, I've been in this business for 40 years, and one thing that's really helped me balance the home work life has been doing ABC things, different things that, we talked earlier about reinventing the wheel. Why do we have to go through and do that again if we can learn from those that have come before us? And that's part of another big reason why we've got hype too, or at least our goal for it.
Mm-hmm. So what are we looking at 2026? What are some of the, you mentioned lunch and learn lessons. I'm sure you might have some ideas that you all are talking about. Anything, obviously if there's things that you don't want to go public with yet, don't go there. But yeah, anything that you're willing to throw out there, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so we're working through that now. We are, like I said at the beginning of this, we're planning some kind of larger event that would probably be an annual event that we have every year, and then we're also planning on every 2 months or so just having a get together. I'm not sure exactly when this is going to post, but I know y'all mentioned it on y'all's last week's podcast, so I think people still are getting the news. But we tomorrow we're having a get together at Portillo's. Just casual. If you want to dress up for Halloween, you can. If you feel like you don't want to, there's no pressure either way. I believe it's, Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, but 5 to 8, kind of come and go as you kind of want. And we're going to have events similar to that throughout the year. It might not always be like at Portillo's. We've thought about like things in the morning at coffee shops, or just a place where you could come and kind of network and meet some people closer to your age or young professionals in the area. And then we're also going to have some kind of what we're calling lunch and learns, which we're planning on our first one to be sometime in January is what we're kind of thinking. And we're in the process of locking down the sponsor and figuring out who's speaking. And I'll let Dr. Dye kind of dive into that a little more, because I know part of why we wanted him on the board was, me and Lauren are both similar ages, so we were looking for a little more youth. He's a little bit younger than us, and he's really the one that's kind of pushed the lunch and learns and having some more professional, just not just meet up and meet people, but like, how can we learn? How can we, get some people in the area to come speak to us and tell us how they were successful with their business and what they did and how they've networked. And so, Dr. Dahl, I'll let you kind of take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you essentially covered all of it. I don't know. I mean, I'm 29. I guess I am one of the youngest pups that are around here right now. But yeah, I mean, so my whole thing, and just, in my personal walk is, I want to learn from people that have already gone and done the things. I want to learn how to leave things for my kids. I want to learn how to make sure that, God forbid something were to ever happen to me, I know what's going to happen in my business. And the way that you learn those things is by talking to the people that have actually done that.
Mhm.
And I know there's so many other professionals and entrepreneurs here in Hernando that have those same questions. Why can't we all sit down and have like a fireside type chat with some of these people that have done it? To me, it just makes sense to do that. And still, being able to talk to some of the peoples in the government that are leading things. One big thing is, as a business owner, is tax law. Okay, what are some of the tax laws that are coming through? What are the things that maybe I need to have a conversation with my CPA about? Different things that we can kind of come together and say, hey, this is something that we kind of see coming down the pipe. Maybe it's not this year, maybe it's not even next year, maybe it's the next 5 years out, but we can already kind of see the freight train coming, and go ahead and set our businesses up so that when those things come, at least we've talked about it and we're more prepared about it. We've got a really cool in with Lauren and how she's already in the Hernando government. And so she kind of gets to see some of the things, especially at the meetings that the aldermen have and stuff like that. She kind of already sees a little bit about the inner workings of the government itself. But different things like that we know are going to help businesses here in Hernando grow, and set them up, like I said, for the future to be as successful as possible. And so that being said, here's a shameless plug. If you are an older business leader in the area and you'd be interested in talking to us, let us know. Get in contact with one of us. I'm sure Derrick won't mind putting in the show notes our contact information, or the information for the Hype email. We can give that to you as well. But we would love to have any business owners around here in the area that feel like they have some value that they would be willing to pour into us. We would be happy to accept.
Let's do the contact information right now in real time. So I'll make note of it for said description while we can announce it too. What is the best way for someone listening right now to get involved and contact y'all?
It is, give me just a second. I know Bailey just texted to us not too long ago. Hype Young Professionals at gmail.com.
And then young HYPE Young Professionals at gmail.com. Cool.
That's it. Yep. Yeah, you can send us an email there, as well as either one of our businesses. If you just call up here to the clinic, I'll be happy to give my girls a heads up, say, hey, we're probably going to get some phone calls or texts or whatever. But yeah, just things like that to get into contact with us, so we can start kind of getting this together.
We've been doing a lot of Google Docs in the background of like who would be a good potential speaker or a good venue to have something. We have like a wonderful library in the downtown Hernando area. First Regional's amazing, and they have good event space there. And like Jonathan had mentioned, having a networking event at Fratello's is great for an after hours type thing. But we're eager to learn from those around us. And I know from some of the conferences I've gone to in the chemical industry, we talk about like climbing a mountain as a cross-functional team, which just the three of us as board members are very different. I guess Jonathan, you and I both have engineering in common, but still, coming at it from like the government politics side of stuff, and also being someone that works in Memphis, not in Hernando, and then medical professional, and then engineer, it's kind of a wide range there, but we're all trying to climb this mountain together. And at the end of the day, we have different financial goals or family goals or personal development goals, professional development goals, but we're all trying to do better. Like if you're seeking out hype, you're trying to better yourself and better things generationally, I think is how you said it, Dr. Dye. And that's it exactly. How are we setting things up for those that follow us? We're already thinking that. And so we're reaching up, like help us up the mountain for folks to help pull us along on that. And I think that the new board that we're looking at, again, it's very cross-functional, and that casts our net so much wider because we do have members that are, our treasurer works for First National. Is that the bank that he's with?
Community Bank in Hernando, which is actually one of our founding sponsors as well. So,
but having someone that's in that financial space, like that's a big question mark for a lot of people. I know, like, my first job when they, slid the papers across and it was like, oh yeah, how much do you want to put in your 401k? And I'm like, now when do I retire? Like, how much is this, and it's such a piddly percent. Like when you start at your first job, like, the percent might not be that big, but like the dollar amount is very small because you're not making as much then. But having that wealth planning on that is a huge thing. Insurance, that's one. My husband and I were just talking about that the other day on life insurance. Like, what's the best way to do that? And it's going to be different for every different situation. And business continuity, geez, yeah, as someone that owns their business, that would be huge to know how that's going to go. So yes, again, shameless plug. I love that. Reach out to us.
Absolutely. That's the whole point, for sure. And this conversation right here, to me, the key word that keeps popping in my head is value, right? Like,
absolutely.
What's the value of being a member of Hype or a general member of the chamber? That came up on board meetings all the time. Like, what kind of value can we bring our membership? And I think personally, education, like everything y'all are talking about. Let's learn something. Networking is great. We've just talked about that. Handful of times a year, you have your socials, and it's just chill, maybe an adult beverage, cocktail or two, hanging out with your new friends, your business friends. Great, but that will get old for a while. Where's the value in that? So,
Absolutely.
So when you have something that will teach you things, like, for example, you just mentioned goals, Lauren. I'm awful at planning and making goals. And so, again, regardless of my age, let's pretend that I'm under 45 and been a business owner for 7, 8 years, like I have. I could use coaching on that. Like, I'm definitely one that could come in and be like, oh, Hype is holding a air quote seminar. We'll just call it that. And the speaker is there to teach everyone, how to best set goals for their business. Okay, I'm going to that, right? Like now we're talking. And there's so many other subcategories you could think about. So to kind of double down on that, is that something that's really going to be on the forefront as far as Hype is making
Absolutely.
it so members, because they got to join the chamber, right? So they join the chamber. Now they're in the subcategory of Hype. What kind of value can they expect?
I think the lunch and learns, as I was looking at them, kind of my mind went to something the chamber already does, which is the grits in government. Quarterly, I think, is the frequency on that. And obviously the focus there is government. This year with the millage rate changes, that was a big point of focus. We've had so many elections.
I didn't hear about that ever.
You didn't? Man.
No.
I wish I hadn't. No, I'm just kidding. It was a daily thing there for a while. But they find whatever the most relevant thing is and put a spotlight on that. This has been an election heavy year because we had the local elections, municipal elections, but then also the special elections. The day that this comes out, November 4th, is election day for special elections. So anyone in DeSoto County and even some in Tate County, go vote. And so modeling what they have there, people show up. They fill up the room at First Regional Library in downtown Hernando, find an amazing speaker, breakfast is provided, and all you have to do is show up and give that little bit of your time and have an open mind. And same thing like you're saying with the ribbon cuttings, like you'll meet some aldermen, the mayor is typically there. Siboney, fabulous Siboney, she's there. And you learn something from it. So it's worth it to say to your boss, or if you're your own entrepreneur self, like, I'm going to go start my day an hour later so that I can go and get that value. And we were thinking with lunch and learns, that's less of an ask from your employer to step away if it's during that lunch hour. So maybe you're only having to miss another 15 minutes or 30 minutes of work to be able to bring back something that helps that business in Hernando and then could also help you. But it's still a bit of a moving target. But I think the chamber's done a really good job with grits in government, and having that quarterly drumbeat on that has been good. And a breakfast time slot makes sense, I think, for that because of the demographic that tends to show up. It is a little bit older. tends to be the people that are more interested in government stuff, unfortunately. I wish it was more younger folks too, but that's kind of what I was thinking with it. But I mean, Jonathan, is that kind of how you were seeing it play out too?
I think you've hit the kind of nail on the head. That's exactly what I mean. We want to be a resource to where young professionals can network and I mean, just do you know a plumber, or next time your business needs printing needs, or that's our goal, is to have a diverse amount or different people that you can talk with or meet with, or know person's like, oh, well, I know them through Hype. I know exactly who I'm going to use for my printing needs, or those different things. And definitely highly suggest going to the chamber website. We do have a link through the chamber website that goes directly to Hype. So along with, we talked a little while ago, the email address, you can actually go to that link. There's a QR code. You can scan that QR code and it'll give you an application to fill out for Hype, and we will reach out to you. So there's multiple ways, like Dr. Dye said, you can call his office. I work at AERC Architects right here off the square. You can call our office. You can call the chamber directly. You can go to the website. I think if you're interested in all, even if it's just that you want to come to a couple lunch and learns or some of the events, we highly suggest that you join Hype, or the at the end of it, the chamber, because the chamber is a huge resource. It gets for small businesses a lot of use. I mean, there's a lot of people that look at the chamber's Facebook page, and so that's our goal here, is to continue to grow the chamber, but also our of young professionals and entrepreneurs that have different resources in the community, and have people to, when your business has that need, someone local. You don't have to go to Memphis, or we're trying
That is
to
so
keep
invaluable
here.
to know a guy or know a gal that can do something. I love that. And the best advice I've ever gotten, and then I pass it on to anyone that'll listen, is when you go to an event, per hour of time that you're there, talk to 3 people, have 3 real conversations with people. It's not like, make it rain business cards, like truly connect with someone, and then you'll remember their name, you'll remember what they do, maybe learn something about their spouse or their kids or something. Do they play pickleball? What is it that they're is, filling their cup on things? But it's about quality over quantity, because over time with consistency, you'll get that quantity. And I mean, literally there's every business card I get, I end up doing a follow-up email on, if not a call, even if it's just a, hey, it was great connecting, but having that consistency of it, and then being able to think back, yes, I did meet someone. Now, where were they? That
I'll even show you guys now. I keep a stack of them here on my desk, of ones that I've met, through the chamber, or just patients that have come in. But it's cool. For instance, whenever I come in here in the clinic, we have people that move here from out of town. And it's like, this is my lawn guy. This guy, takes care of that for me. Or, the dentist over here, he's awesome. He does a great job. Or, just different stuff like that. But it also, too, when you do that, to your point, Lauren, it kind of makes you feel good, because, like, I've got the one that he does a great job. You really want to go with this one. And so that's kind of a fun thing to be able to do. But I love that point.
Well, I've been a BNI member for a couple of years now. If you're not familiar with BNI, it's Business Network International. And you're paying a good $100 a month to be in a network group. You're paying some good money to be there, but it's the value, what you get, and the trust that you build with other people. But Lauren, you hit on something. I have an idea for y'all. For one of your lunch and learns 2026, you bring in someone to teach you how to properly network, and how to have eye contact, and how to shake a hand properly, not like physically, like the idea of going out to shake hands. There's an etiquette to it. There's a real science to that, and I think it's one thing to show up and shake some hands, if you will, and meet some people, but there's ways to do it to get your value from it as well.
Good, better, best.
But not hitting people over the head with your credit card, your debit card. Yeah, your business card.
Derrick's ready to pay for stuff.
Look, we went from Lauren making it rain to now we're beating people up with plastic. Right?
I'm automatically buying your business for you, but like, you got to sell yourself, but you got to listen to and learn more about the person. Ask questions. There's all these different things that I think is critical. when it comes to networking properly. So there you go. There's a 101 you can do for Lunch and Learn is how to network. Because yeah, you don't want to, you don't want the conversation one-sided and feel like you just have to sell yourself the whole time. That person's going to tune you out quickly. Get that eye contact, ask questions. Yeah. So again, I would still go to that. I would pretend I'm young and I would go to that Lunch and Learn. I would dye my hair black just for that.
I was trying to think what's the equivalent of like putting on the fake mustache. I was like, what would like make you youthful? Fellow teens or fellow kids need to skateboard.
Shaving my head and losing some weight would probably help. But well, this is great. I don't want to leave too much on the table, but ultimately this isn't Joe Rogan. We don't do 4-hour episodes here. So I want to make sure that we are capturing everything you guys want out there. So please, by all means, if you guys feel like we're missing anything here, raise your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that I can really think of, and we've already talked about it, but just harping on it again, is just, I mean, we're looking for anybody in any profession, from any walk of life that's just 45 years or younger. You don't have to be a member of the chamber, but it's kind of nice to actually have that you're already plugged in that sense. But you don't even have to have a business here, as long as you're doing commerce here, is one of our qualifying factors. Just, we want you to have some tie to Hernando. Because obviously this is what we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow our community, and trying to stand upon the shoulders of those that come before us and to leave it better for those that come after us.
Well said.
Well said.
Man, it would be a long title, but that needs to be the title of this episode. For sure, And how cool would it be if, there's a culture built here over time where you have a young person in Hernando that's wanted to start a business, thought about it, really wants to do it, afraid to do it, don't know what to do first, all the roadblocks that we've all experienced, but they know they can go to the chamber and Hype specifically as a resource, a support system that says, hey, I can't say it as eloquently as you did, Dr. Dye, but they're coming to you. They're the future, and you are the wise man, if you will, there to take them in and help them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one thing that's been really cool, and I'm sure Lauren with her with running and stuff like that, and Jonathan starting to do it. And in fact, Jonathan, I'm gonna give him his credit where it's due. Jonathan's my architect for the clinic that I've got here. I mean, we sat down and through a few furious emails back and forth, came to this wonderful, beautiful thing that we've got here now, that has helped me out really well in helping people here in Hernando. But that being said, I mean, there's already so much wisdom that this group has already got together that we can tap into. And if there's anybody out there that's like that, that's wanting to start a business or is scared to, or doesn't know if the idea is good enough, we want to be that avenue to connect people, either within our Hype group itself or with people that are outside. It goes back to that whole theme of, hey, I've got a guy that you can talk to about that. This is somebody that helped coach me up, and maybe they can help coach you up as well. I mean, I've got a couple of patients that come in here now. When they come in, I know that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about business and, hey, what are you doing your ads now? What are you doing as far as your local marketing, your grassroots efforts? What are you planning on doing on your money models and stuff like that? And so, but yeah, that's the whole purpose of this group is to help us, like I said, continue to grow and continue to do better.
Very cool. Any last words there, Jonathan?
No, I think we kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, Derrick, we really appreciate the time and helping us get our name out there. That's really the goal of this, is to spread the word to people about the chamber, and that there's a resource in Hernando for young professionals. Like you said, that you might be working somewhere where you're not quite feel like you're a young professional yet, but I think anyone can be, and anyone can start their own business at any age. And that's what we want to be, as a resource. If you need an architect or an engineer, or there's a group you can look through the chamber to find those people locally. You don't have to go to Memphis or somewhere nationally to find them. We have them here in Hernando.
I mean, there's a state-of-the-art podcast studio right on McInvale.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, you can do it. I promise you. Lauren, any closing words from you in terms of hype?
By the time this airs, we'll have done our first networking event, and I'm excited to see how successful that is. And as we continue to grow our membership and meet as a board, I'm so excited for us to have more folks on board to be able to plan out what 2026 is going to look like collectively. And when we have the people there with the drive to make something happen, it's going to come together. So it's just a matter of us, believing in each other and leveraging the networks we already have. Because like I said, I thought 35 was too old to be a young professional because I was like, well, I'm kind of like established, but it's, I'm still working on my first decade in chemicals. So I guess maybe that makes me still kind of a baby, but not really. But I know there's a lot of ambition that we have for next year and beyond. And I would encourage you. I know we have our Instagram going, and there'll be more posts on there as well, and continue to share stuff on my Alderman page as well regarding anything that's going on with hype, because I just want to promote Hernando, make us the best we can be, continue to grow all in the right directions. Yes.
Well, congratulations. From experience, over the last several years, I was blessed with the opportunity to serve on two boards, the Chamber and the Arts Council. And looking back on it, I can look back on the fun that it was to collaborate, and the board meetings sometimes felt like think tanks and you're coming up with ideas and everything. But what's fascinating is when it's a well-organized board of directors for something like hype or the Chamber or whatever, it's going to be executed. That's the difference. You can come up with all kinds of ideas, but it's executing them, right?
Absolutely.
So when you have a board of like-minded people that want to fight for the same thing, then things get done. So I'm happy for y'all that I'm seeing hype grow to what it is, and I take no credit for it starting, but I was there. I helped. I voted for the name. There you go. All right, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. But that was it. Yay! And that's all. That's the effort I took in. It was all Molly and Greg Drumright. So thanks to them, the founding father and mother, if you will. But now we got the new blood in town here, and 2026 looks like it's going to be a real big year for hype and more to come. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Well,
thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
You guys are always going to be friends of this podcast. So who knows what next year holds for this podcast, but by all means, consider this a conduit for hype, and to help amplify what y'all are doing out there as best we can too. So we're here to help.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
All right. And thank you to the listeners. If you made it this far, you need to pat yourself on the back, because there's retention rate in podcasting. Not everybody makes it to the end. So if you're still here watching or listening, you are a rock star. So we appreciate you. If you want to be a better rock star, and even a top level rock star, go to therealhernando.com and follow us on that website, and go find our Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok accounts. Follow us everywhere. Comment on every post, share every post, like and heart every post. I'm not asking a lot.
The engagement, that's what we need.
I'm only asking for a few things there. But no, for real, thank you for watching and listening. And while you're on that website, really the most important page is the sponsor page. So go find their wonderful logos on there, patronize their businesses. This podcast in February will be 4 years old. The years 2, 3, and 4 was able to happen because of all of these sponsors. They were the fuel. I could only invest the first year, and then after that it needed sponsorship, and all of those people on that page are the reason why it's still here. So thank you to all of them. And again, to those watching and listening, have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.